Back on the SportsMax zone, Tagenarine Chanderpaul, son of outstanding former West Indies batsman Shibnarine Chanderpaul, has received his first call-up to the West Indies Test squad. Tagenarine was the second leading scorer in the Cricket West Indies 4-Day Championship earlier this year. The left-hander scored 439 runs at an average of 73.16 from his 5 matches. Only Windies captain Craig Brathwaite outscored him with 584 at an average of 83.42. Now in total, Tagenarine has played 50 first-class matches, scoring 2,669 runs at an average of 34.21. He has 5 first-class hundreds and 10 half-centuries. The left-hander has replaced Jamaican John Campbell in the squad. Campbell, you remember, recently handed a 4-year ban for a violation of anti-doping rules. The full squad reads: Craig Brathwaite, captain; Jermaine Blackwood, the vice-captain; Shamar Brooks and Kruma Bonner; Tagenarine Chanderpaul; Roston Chase; Joshua De Silva; Devon Thomas, 2 wicket-keepers there, De Silva and Thomas; Jason Holder, Kyle Mears; Alzari Joseph, Anderson Phillip, Raymond Reefer, Kemar Roach and Jaden Seals. Now, Rakeem Cornwall, who took most wickets in this year's CWI 4-Day Championship, has not been included in the team. Instead, the selectors have gone with a batting all-rounder, Roston Chase. Head of selectors Desmond Haynes says he believes Chase's experience and skill will be beneficial. Joining us to delve into matters surrounding the squad is international cricket commentator Fazir Mohammed. Faz, welcome to the SportsMax Zone again.
Good to be on the show, Lance.
Yeah, can we start here though, because there is a story surfacing out of the Leeward Islands that Rakeem Cornwall was told initially that he was in the squad and then told that he wasn't. Have you heard that, and can you throw some light on that?
Unfortunately, I can't. I wouldn't be surprised if that sort of speculation is gaining some traction in the Leeward Islands, because let's be straightforward about it. Rakeem is from Antigua Barbuda, and therefore in the Leeward Islands, his absence will be felt even more acutely, and there'll be maybe some attempt to justify what is going on as far as his non-selection or his deselection, if you believe what is being rumored in that part of the Caribbean. But yeah, that from my point of view, that's just speculation. But certainly on merit alone.
Yeah, Faz freezing there just a minute, George and Mariah. But I think Faz is about to suggest that on merit, based on his CWI 4-Day red ball cricket performances, he certainly earns a spot in this squad. Faz, are you back with us?
I believe so. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, hearing you now, yeah. Go ahead.
Right, yeah, just to finish off that point, I think on merit, he would command selection, but again, going by what we heard from the chairman of selectors suggesting that the Roston Chase's batting could be a factor, I don't think that really holds a lot of water, because the West Indies are going to struggle anyway. When you look at those 2 test matches, when you looked at the pitch yesterday at the Perth Stadium, pace and bounce and whatever else. But again, I can't confirm or deny whether or not he was told, Rakeem Cornwall, that he was going to be in the squad and then there was a last-minute change. I can't indicate yay or nay in that direction.
Yeah, do you think that Rakeem Cornwall's physical conditioning, Faz, over 300 pounds, continues to hurt his position as a West Indies player?
Yes, it does. Because, and again, I'll go on the record to repeat what I said even before he was first selected for the West Indies in 2019 against India in Jamaica, that I felt that someone of his size would not be a good look for the West Indies. I made that claim, made that point, but he proved me wrong by responding with to the opportunity, by getting a couple of early wickets against the Indians. He went on to that lone test against Afghanistan, picked up a 7-wicket haul in the first innings, and in 9 test matches, he has 34 test wickets. His last test match was just about a year ago in Sri Lanka. He played the first test of those 2 test matches in goal. He hasn't been looked at since, but he's continued to take wickets. And I would suspect, and again, this is mere speculation on my part, but it is the physical appearance of a Rakeem Cornwall that works against him in being selected for the West Indies Test squad at this time.
When you look at the I'm tempted to say back class of Ruston Chase. And if you score his record, there are performances that were classy, that would substantiate the descriptor back class of our Ruston Chase. And before I make the point, maybe look at the head-to-head in terms of the numbers where Ruston Chase and Raheem Cornwall are concerned at the test level. So 9 matches for Cornwall at that level, 43 to Chase. Chase's experience is vast relative to Cornwall's. The runs a huge, a chasm between both men where the runs are concerned. The averages, though, Chase is only 26.78, 137 not out his highest score. He has 79 wickets, the average for the bowling average, best bowling in an innings, and of course the strike rate. So the thing is this, yes, Chase has been here many more times than Cornwall has. But the Chase that we've seen in recent seasons, in recent test series, the one who has lost his way as a test cricketer, the one who has lost his place after losing his way, does not strongly recommend him for this Australia tour. Tell me, what do you imagine these selectors would have used? Apart from, I mean, the point you just made about Raheem's physical state, what could have gone into the decision then to say, all right, let's use Chase, let's go with Chase, rather than give the man who was the strongest performer with ball in our recent 4-day competition?
I can't find a legitimate justification, George, because if you're telling me that someone who averages just over 25 in test match cricket with the bat, granted that he had a very good first couple of years, let's not overlook that. In just his second test match, he scored a match-saving 100 against India in Jamaica in 2016. And that form continued into 2017 against Pakistan. He had a very good year, but he's gone off the boil with the bat. If you're saying that Ruston Chase is selected ahead of Raheem Cornwall because he's a better batsman, averaging 26.78, then really you're not saying anything. Because again, you look at the numbers, wicket taking. If you're saying that Ruston Chase is a better bowler than Raheem Cornwall, with 79 wickets from 43 test matches, as against someone who has 34 from 9, then maybe the numbers don't matter anymore. So that's why I'm saying, clearly, this cannot be a cricketing decision. It cannot be. Because it just doesn't stand up to scrutiny to say that Ruston Chase is a better batsman than Raheem Cornwall. Okay, but you're talking about someone averaging less than 30. And it harkens back to my point of a couple sessions ago, where I talk about now normalizing mediocrity. That you're saying that Ruston Chase is a better batsman on the basis of an average of less than 27.
Yeah, but the problem I continue to have is this, and I'm happy you're here to help us with this, because West Indies cricket fans and some pundits have this understanding that he who performs, well, we're talking about men's cricket, so we can be safe to use he who performs well in regional cricket is automatically in the reckoning for selection to squads and teams for competitions. But from time to time, we've seen selection panels go around that, which leaves me wondering if that is an imagined policy of West Indies fans and some pundits, or do you know it to be the policy that whichever selection panel is empaneled to decide and discuss, that is something they must consider?
It's not a tricky one, but it's not as straightforward as it might appear. Because if that were the case, George, if it were a stated policy, then you really don't need selectors.
No. Hold on. I'm happy you went there. Hold on. No, but here's the thing. An algorithm could pick the team, or even you don't even need to do that. Let's just say take the best averages and put them on. But here's the thing. You notice I said that the strongest performers enter the reckoning, because I'm struggling to accept that you looked on paper at what Raheem Cornwall did and then found a way to pick somebody else over him. Maybe Chase was not the head-to-head direct selection over him, but I'm saying I can't accept that as strong a performer as Raheem Cornwall was in the 4-day competition, that him in the reckoning and what he did was not strong enough to grant him a place in a team that is a weak team, in a team that doesn't have world beaters with bat and ball. And I'm struggling to see how him in the reckoning could not get the final selection for a place in a 15-man squad.
Rakeem Cornwall is just the latest frontline spin in the West Indies to dominate in regional competition, yet can't get a regular pick in the West Indies team. You can go right down the line over many, many years. Rajendra Danraj of Trinidad and Tobago, Clyde Butts of Guyana.
But he bats better than all of them, Faz. He bats much better than all of them. Nagamutu, you can name a whole list of spinners as you're saying.
Correct. And again, that's why I'm saying that this cannot be a purely cricketing decision. Because the last time he played in that same test match in goal, he got 39 in the first innings, 13 in the second, batting for a long time. Yes, he played a poor shot and the West Indies lost the match with rain on the way. But it seems, and again, I am just speculating, and I could be cast aside for it, no problem. I could be condemned for it, it's not a problem. The fact of the matter is that if you were to go by purely cricketing merit, there's no reason to leave out Rakeem Cornwall once you decide that you're picking a frontline off spinner. Because the argument about runs, given the present form of Roston Chase and his present numbers, don't hold any water at all.
Fazir, I'm reaching the stage of my career as a journalist and broadcaster where I don't know what experience means anymore. Because when somebody's going to look and say, well, relatively speaking, and we're imagining that the head-to-head came down to Rakeem Cornwall and Roston Chase. And I think that's a good premise to go on. And someone says, well, Roston Chase was picked because of his superior experience. Fazir, educate me on this day in sports. I don't know what experience is.
Well, certainly in the West Indies context, it doesn't hold a lot of water because, again, you look at the overall numbers of our West Indies cricketers. Credit to Craig Brathwaite as well, someone who's worked extremely hard on his game, but he doesn't average 35. So again, that brings it into context. So he's played a lot of cricket. Many of our cricketers have played a lot of cricket, have been exposed to a lot of international cricket, but have they consistently excelled to be considered anywhere, any sort of consideration among the best in the world, save and except Kemar Roach, because his enduring quality is there for all to see. But again, to answer your specific question about experience counts for nothing if that player has tremendous experience, but ordinary numbers. And again, to your point about being prolific in regional competition, you might recall Devon Smith dominating a few years ago in regional first-class cricket, and the argument was he must play for the West Indies. And some pointed out, look, what's the point? You look at his overall test match numbers, they're ordinary. So said, so done. He was picked for the West Indies, and he was according to his average. That's just how it is with some players, and we have a lot of them right now in West Indies cricket. So the argument about experience can only be valid if they are justifying and supporting numbers to match that experience.
Yeah. Faz, just before you go, though, I would want you to address the issue when you speak of head-to-head between Rakeem Cornwall and Roston Chase, and correctly pointing out that Chase's batting average isn't compelling, almost 27, but Cornwall is 18. So statistically, Roston Chase puts on the table a significantly, albeit not very good, but significantly better batting average than Cornwall, whose batting average is 18.
Absolutely, but on what would the selection have been based? Bowling ability or batting ability? You can't tell me that you're arguing batting ability as against an average of 27 and an average of 18. That is taking mediocre to the farcical level. If you're talking about the fact that you're picking someone who has a chance of giving you wickets, who could factor into the consideration, then surely Rakeem Cornwall is ahead of the game. So arguing about someone who has a 9-point better number, but his number is still only 26 point something, is really no argument at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hear you on that. Thank you very much, my friend. We'll talk again. All the best.
Take care.
But just before we go, were you sipping chamomile tea before the segment?
I was sipping something to calm me down so I wouldn't misunderstand and misquote your questions as I did so famously a few weeks ago.
All right, but you won't disclose the medicament that was in your teacup.
It will be giving free advertising.
There you go. All right, my friend. Thank you very much.
I like that.
All right, Fazir.
Yeah, didn't get a chance to talk about Tagenarine Chanderpaul with Faz, but there will be time to talk about that.
But here's the thing, though. I mean, this is a huge disincentive to performance. Because if you can... Well, before I go further, I've said on this show many times that Chase was my favorite cricketer.
What happened? You said was.
Chase has lost the form.
Okay.
Chase's form in recent seasons has been atrocious. Yeah. So I've been a Chase guy fundamentally. But you have to reform. You have to reward performances. And this is one of those situations when administrations come in and talk about transparency. Transparency means that in situations like these, when you have an outstanding performer in your regional competition who doesn't make your test squad, that you come forward with a statement to say, these are the 15 selected. We know many people ask about the exclusion of Rakeem Cornwall. Rakeem was omitted for these reasons and list them. That is transparency. Not telling me that you are being transparent at the moment of your installation in office. That's rubbish.
Yeah, and another major point that Faz brought up is the fact that we don't have a strong test set, and of course we understand that experience. We love to say, okay, this is an experienced cricketer, so let's select them based on experience. But at the point that we are in Test cricket right now, we need form, we need numbers, we need players that can go out and perform for us. And I feel like injustice has been done there.
Break time. Back with more in the zone after these.